guys? Today we're going to check out Ocean's 11 on 4K Blu-ray. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad the movie is. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot on film. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated PG-13. Runtime is 116 minutes. Aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio gets a new DTS HD 5.1 mix. Before we get into the audio, you can find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there in the video's description, as well as links for this movie. Audio-wise, this gets a higher resolution track over the older Dolby Digital mix, so we don't get a fresh ATMOS soundtrack on this release. Now this is a front-heavy mix where most of the musical soundtrack and all of the dialogue will reside. There's some atmospheric environmental surround activity throughout, such as the casino's interior sounds, so you're going to hear slot machines and all that and people chattering. There's birds chirping outside of Saul's house, and some other faint effects that are spread around here and there. I've seen this movie a dozen times and it's not a drastic departure from the older Dolby Digital mix. It's a bit cleaner, but not a night and day difference. I was hoping the music tracks would bump a little harder or extend out to the surround channels, but like I mentioned earlier, the music remains mostly up front. As for the bass response, there's almost no bass except for, I believe, when they open the vault door towards the end of the movie. You'll get a nice, low, deep rumble. Other than that, my subwoofers didn't have much to do at all. The dialogue was fine and always remained easy to hear throughout the entire duration. If you're new to the channel and you're into home theater or want to keep up with the latest and greatest in audio and video gear, tap the subscribe button for new weekly videos. Video quality wise is where the biggest upgrade over the older Blu-ray shines. Keep in mind that this was shot on film, so there is a very faint layer of grain, and in some spots it can be a little heavy. I'm not sure if they used any DNR to control the grain because there are many shots in this that look suspiciously clean and devoid of any type of grain. Now, it's not James Cameron levels of clean, but I do feel that there may have been a very light handling of grain management in this movie. That being said, the detail in this looks fantastic. There are times where you could mistake this for being a film shot yesterday. Close-ups reveal all the pores and wrinkles you could possibly count. The textures on fabric are nicely rendered, and while it's not 4K crispy, the detail refinement is a big upgrade over the 1080p version. The HDR enhances all the vibrant colors with better gradational toning over the SDR version, and also adds additional pop enhanced by the increased contrast levels. Specular highlights do come across overly hot at times, so white lights and reflective surfaces can lack highlight detail. It's got a max CLL of 3991 and a max FALL of 257. Now this movie came as a trilogy set with Oceans 12 and 13, and they all share the same visual increases as far as detail and HDR, which is an HDR10 and not Dolby Vision for all three. Oceans 13 is a bit more colorful as far as the color palette, but they all do look alike even with the big time spans between the sequels. I've only decided to focus on Oceans 11 because it's personally my favorite out of the three and stays a bit more grounded and I say believable, and I think believable over the other two. But as far as the transfer, I'm gonna have to go with an 8.9. There may or may not be some grain management going on here, but overall, it's a clear winner for detail and HDR over the older Blu-ray. The audio I felt was a little more spacious coming from the older Dolby Digital mix, but the bass was weak. It still got some decent ambiance throughout, but it's not a movie you're gonna throw in for the sound quality. I'm gonna go 6.5 for audio. Well, those are my thoughts on Ocean's 11 on 4K Blu-ray. Have you seen it yet? And which one is your favorite out of the trilogy? Leave your comments down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media. And if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful and subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you again in the next video.